Survivor's ready. Go!
Travis spoken.
Boston Rob and Amber are gonna do it.
This is a business trip, as I like to say.
You, Brad Culpepper.
I'm tired of you and the fucking chicken.
You can call me the puppet master. They can be my little puppets.
It's not like you're making a deal with the devil here.
You get to milk your own milk, I guess.
Who the hell voted for me?
Chicken.
Damn! We got enough rocks here, too. We could build a pretty decent shelter just using rocks.
I'm supposed to talk lamb to you. You understand that better?
Direct from Hobart, it's time for the only Survivor podcast in Australia dedicated to Survivor, bringing you all the latest interviews, episodes, and opinions from the greatest reality show on the planet. It's Survivor Oz, and here's your host, Ben Waterworth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Survivor Oz as we come to you live for episode 7 of Survivor Cambodia. This is the 7th Oztopsy of the season, and I'm hoping to God that people right now in our lovely world of Spreecast can actually hear us. Zachary Chong, if you are there, give us a big hello because you have missed our live voices. But if you are listening to this on a pre-recorded format, hello to you. We don't forget about you because there's actually more of you listening to this pre-recorded than live right now. Lots to talk about. Big episode this week, Survivor Cambodia, second chance. And on the line right now, I have 3 wonderful Ozlets all the way from Australia. We're keeping it local this week, including all the way from the land of the church and stuff. It's Ryan Qualifying Lap. Hello, Ryan. Welcome back.
Hey, Ben. Great to be here. What a great episode this was as well. I can't wait to get into it and start talking about it.
I agree. I'm going to put this out there. Probably the best episode of the season, maybe. Not too sure. I know one person will disagree with me, perhaps, and that is this man, Noah Groves. Noah, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Ben. I don't know why I disagree with that, but anyway, it's going to be fun to talk about. I guess I have to disagree with everything.
Well, I thought that you thought the episode the other week was... I don't know. I haven't actually gotten that opinion from you.
Never said that, but whatever.
Sorry, Noah. And okay. Also joining us from Melbourne, I think he's there anyway, otherwise he's maybe changing a nappy or something. It's Cable Brandon. Cable, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, there you are. Hello, Cable. How are you?
Good. Very excited to talk about this epic episode.
Epic episode. Everything good? You changed your nappy okay? You're all clean now? And
well, it's not my nappy, but yeah.
Well, I thought it... Putting the illusion out there, Cable. All right, well, we've just kind of talked about this episode in a way by giving our thoughts. I'm going to start with you, Cable, then. I'm guessing you enjoyed this episode, then.
Cable. So say that again?
Yes. Did you enjoy this episode, Cable?
Yes, I did. Very much.
You can elaborate a little bit more if you like, or you could just leave it at that.
No. It was just a lot of stuff going on, strategy-wise. So it was just, it was just so much happening. It was just really exciting to see how it was going to play out.
Good. Noah, what were your thoughts on this week's episode?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what Cable said. But yeah, there's so much to unpack because it was just things going left, right, and centre. So many different layers of who's with who and who voted for who and everything. So not the most unpredictable episode, but it didn't matter because it was still very entertaining and it's going to set up a really good merge. I was skeptical of 13 people, but I still think it made for a really entertaining episode, so I was fine with it, and a great tribal council as well, so all good.
Alrighty. Ryan, qualifying lap.
Yeah, I guess to borrow from Tony, this was huge, and it really was a huge episode. I guess probably up until at least the 40-minute mark, I had no idea who would be going, and I know we'll unpack that shortly, but yeah, it was a fantastic episode. Great to see them all come together for once. I guess having that 3-tribe dynamic is really throwing the game up throughout, so seeing how the relationships and who was in relationships was fantastic, so can't wait for the rest of the season.
Alrighty, can't wait for it indeed. And let's just make this episode a little bit more special because I'm going to add somebody else in. I said it was a localised version of being Australian only. Well, I'm going to change it up by adding somebody from the land of the free, the home of the brave, and somebody who doesn't have a penis. Well, at least I don't think she does. I'm going to add Kate in. Hello, Kate. It's been a while. Welcome back to Survivor Oz.
Hello.
How are you? You sound very awake.
Yeah. I've been trying really hard to stay awake for this.
So you've actually stayed awake. You haven't gotten up because it's is it 2 a.m. there at the moment, if I'm doing my calculations correctly?
Yes.
Right. Okay, then. So you might fall asleep halfway through
Don't
this
hang up.
episode.
No, I think I'll be alright.
Okay. Well, you've just joined us at the perfect time because I'm just finding out people's thoughts on this week's episode. So straight away, what did you think of this week's episode?
Ugh. I fucking hate John Carroll so much.
What? Why do you hate John
Are
Carroll?
you watching my cases?
This is Cambodia.
Cambodia,
Kate.
not the DVD.
We're up to season 31 at the moment, right?
I'm on West Coast time now, and I couldn't find it on East Coast, so I had to wait 3 hours. And I make a huge effort not to get on social media or check anything or whatever, and I was on my iPad, and goddamn Periscope pops up with a notification that John Carroll is like, oh, Cass is grass. And I'm like, really? Really, man? Thanks for ruining the episode. I can't unsee that.
Wow. I'm glad you're on this week and not last
Hashtag
week
bring John
when
back.
he was our recapper, because you could have, ruined that. But all right. So did you then watch the episode, or did you actually just go on the fact that you found out who was gone and just then didn't watch the episode?
Oh, no, I watched. But I'm usually that person that's fooled by the edit, so, like, I might have been surprised, maybe. And I was totally not surprised because of this.
Oh, well, so your thoughts perhaps on this episode then are a little bit down because you didn't have that fooled of the edit approach coming into Tribal Council.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm sad to hear that, Kay. Well, what's your thoughts on this season in general? We haven't had you on all season, so are you enjoying this season?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's been pretty good overall. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of predictability, which is nice, and I like all the swaps and switching things around. Be better if Shane was there, but that's my only complaint.
Well, you've got the spawn of Dale Wentworth, so I guess you're happy there, aren't you?
Yes. She was looking a little rough today, though.
Oh, was she?
Some sleep.
Oh, I think she was looking fine.
Not the most flattering name for her. But
What, the spawn of Dale? Well, it's true.
Spawn of Dale Wentworth.
Well, that's...
Yeah, it doesn't
Just
get
call
much
her
hotter
Kelly
than that.
Colbert.
Well, that's what she
Vito.
was best known as coming into this season, wasn't she? No, we love you, Kelly. Well, I guess obviously a few things to talk about this episode, including we had a merge. Yay! Nice way of doing it, I guess. Meet on the beach, have a merge feast. Orange buffs. We already knew that based off last week's preview. And obviously coming all together and having a jolly old time. There was no talks of idols or searching for it or anything like that. And then we also get the name of the tribe, which wasn't discussed. It just appeared as a subtitle. Orkun. Are we pronouncing that correctly? Am I?
Orkun.
Orkun. Really? There's a different way of pronouncing that? Orkun. Do we just... this is a random question. It's not going to take too much time on this because it's a pointless question in a way. But do we like just randomly seeing the naming of the tribe without seeing a discussion? Or, Kate, do you prefer to kind of hear them coming up with a name and naming it America or Maulianu or whatever the fuck Rob called it in Redemption Island?
I kind of like when they debate it a little bit, and they talk through, and then, just briefly... it doesn't need to be extensive, but just tell us what it is.
Right, so we didn't have Cambodia this season or something like that, like a shortage of something. Noah, do you care at all about this?
I don't really care that much, but, it is always fun getting Jerry saying, why don't we call it the All Villains? And having Rupert confessional, Jerry is a typical villain. She wants to name the tribe All Villains. But, it doesn't bother me too much. Dumb question.
Ryan, was that a dumb question?
No, look, I could have probably done without Stephen's limerick. You probably could have put it in there. So, yeah, I guess it was a pretty jam-packed episode with lots of strategy talk for the first half. But, yeah, they could have at least fit in a couple of minutes of why they named the tribe what they did. Cable,
anything to add?
Yeah, no, I was a bit disappointed. I didn't want a massive debate about the name, but you sort of I was expecting some little conversation, and to see it as a subtitle is a bit random. And I was thinking, did I just miss something? But yeah, anyway, well, Yeah, I'm actually with Ryan. I didn't really need to hear Stephen give us his poem of the day.
Oh, it was, we didn't have like a hashtag Stephen's poem or something like that. Like the episode I watched this week had the hashtags, hashtag Joe language. Come on. But yeah, Stephen's limerick. That was an interesting thing to watch. And just quickly, Orange Buff, you're a buff man in terms of you like the buffs. You're also a very buff man from what I have seen on Facebook. But
who wears a nappy?
Who wears a nappy? Kate, you missed some good stuff at the beginning of this episode. Orange Buff, you're glad to see back. First time we've had an orange merge buff, as Nick Chester pointed out, since Vanuatu.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy to see the orange, or burnt orange, whatever they want to call it, back. Yeah. I was just fearful, especially in All-Star season, I'll go with the black again, and it's just, that's way too cliche these days. So, yeah, I actually think the whole colour mix for the whole season's been really good.
Yes, it's quite an eclectic bunch of colours, isn't it? Sort of pink, light green, gold, and orange. So, yes, no black to be seen. No newspaper print either. Or clear, which seems to be our favourites. We had a lot of strategy. I love the whole sort of strategy. We didn't really get the challenge to about, I think, 23, 24 minutes into this episode. So it gave a lot of time for strategy. We obviously had the two warring sides trying to get things together. So on one side, we had Savage, Jeremy, Tash, Kimmy, Joe, Stephen and Wigglesworth. Well, Joe was sort of in the middle, really, and then we obviously had Wentworth, Keith, Sierra, Abby, Cass, Spencer, and then possibly Joe. So we kind of had these warring sides. Noah, what was your take on how this was happening before, obviously, we ended up getting the Cass versus Tash situation?
Well, firstly, it pissed me off that Joe and Spencer were the swing votes who were definitely not going home this week. The two people who I want to go home the most. Yeah, I guess it was kind of... The one thing I'd have to add is kind of shocked how quickly the Takeo 5 just obliterated, because they set that up as, this is going to be the main alliance, and then like Keith is just jumping off, he doesn't care, and straight away Joe seems to be back to the Bions. Savage must have made some really good bonds early on with Jeremy, because as I pointed out to you, they haven't been together since like day 7 or something, and already they're just connecting back together again. So if you had to give props to Savage for something, I think he was really good at creating a Bayon community spirit thing that really worked. I did not see all the Bions, bar Cass and Sierra, joining back together like that. I thought because it's been so long that they would just all obliterate, but they seem to be forming a tight bunch even before this whole Tasha and Cass thing.
Just quickly, speaking of Savage, I forgot to mention one of my favourite bits of the episode was Savage's confessional right at the beginning, when he's just like sitting there in that log and he's just like, I'm not going to go down without a fight. Fuck them! Pieces of shit! And then he gets this smile on his face. It's like this little evil
I like the
smile.
Rain confessional.
Yeah, that Rain was epic, but like it's just...
Whenever there's a twist, Savage is your go-to guy for a confessional, because he's always got something to say about the twist.
Bipolar Savage. Like, one week it's like, I'm so happy, we're here. Next week, fuck them, pieces of shit.
Then singing in the rain.
Yes. Kate, your take on all the drama-rama involving getting these alliances together before obviously all the shit hit the fan.
Yeah, I didn't know that Savage's luxury item was Kool-Aid and everyone's drinking it. It's just like, I can't stand him, and the fact that everyone's like, oh yeah, let's do what he wants. I'm like, what? Why? Oh, he's so awful. I just want him to crash and burn epically so I can watch it and laugh a lot.
Wow, what is it about Savage that you don't like?
Just everything about him rubs me the wrong way. It's just, he's so like entitled, and like he's just, his little like grins after he says nasty things. It's just not cute. I don't enjoy it.
Not climbing Savage then?
No, he's short. I'll pass.
Who are you climbing this season, Kate?
Joe's pretty tall.
Come on. Do we really need to ask a girl who they're climbing this season? There's one man on this season only, isn't there? Come on, the man bun.
Well, this is coming from the woman who expresses her love for Dale Wentworth, though, so I was expecting a bit of an off-kilter answer. Veto.
What do you think Dale would look like with a man bun, Kate?
Oh, so hot, especially with like the receding hairline. I think that would really add to the man bun.
Like a wise old samurai.
Oh, so hot. We
have a news website in this country, which I shall not name because it might be related to where I work. But they had an article recently that was called "What World Leaders Would Look Like with Man Buns." And they photoshopped, Barack Obama, Vladimir Putin, several world leaders.
Breaking news.
With man buns.
The news station?
Yeah.
News?
Number one news website in this very land of Australia. So.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's a busy day for the news.
Very busy day. Ryan, the drama-rama. And you please talk about man buns if you want to as well.
Yeah, actually, talking about man buns, I don't know. Did you write that article, Ben, or was it someone else?
Sadly, no, I didn't. I was too busy that day to contribute to that article.
Yeah, so I was really interested, like, straight away when they hit the beach, you have that scene with Savage and Jeremy, and like Noah said, their connection they must have made in the first 6 days must have been really strong because they have been apart the whole time. I'm interested to see what kind of game Jeremy's playing because he's keeping along a lot of these stronger males still, and we're now down to 12 people. So there's going to be a time when he's going to have to start getting rid of them, or I'm wondering whether he thinks he can actually beat some of these people at a final 3 because it doesn't appear like he's targeting them at all. He seems to be just wanting to keep them all around him.
Well, it's interesting actually you say that because we've heard him say that, haven't we, about, Joe as a shield and, taking it away from him. But yeah, like at some point that can only go so far, can't it? And I mean, we saw Joe win this week. It wasn't the most physical challenge, but it's still, and we've talked a lot about Jeremy not being exactly the best in challenges. He sort of comes across as somebody who's brilliant in challenges, but he's really hasn't have much of a track record, I guess. So we'll get some thoughts on Jeremy.
Shield protects you, but it doesn't help you win the battle, though. So what's his game plan with that?
I think it will be fascinating to kind of see when push comes to shove with Steven, obviously going to eventually go after Joe, how Jeremy will react to that. So, we'll talk about that. Cable, your take on everything before everything happened?
I liked his line just before... Savage, I'm talking about. The line that you said, he actually said the line professional liars. And I just thought that was interesting because at the end of the day, most players...
Isn't he a lawyer?
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, the reality is if you're going to get far in survival, generally you have to tell a white lie or two. And I just think the fact that he had that conversation with Spencer last week and really sold Spencer on that and moving forward, and he was lying straight to his face. And I'm like, well, hang on, the game's kind of about professional lying to a point. So, and there was something he said, something about red flags going off, and I've lost what I was thinking.
Well, it's just quickly what you were saying was, I mean, it's a perfect point you make because he's this type of player, isn't he, that when somebody lies against him, it's like, oh no, they're Hitler, like I would never lie. But like exactly as you said, what was his whole plan of like going to Spencer and like saying, oh no, Sierra's going home, you're safe? Like, I mean, I like Savage, but he sometimes is just a frustrating person to watch.
I agree with that, but then that's also the fault in Cass's game, going up to everyone saying, oh, Tasha lied. It's like, this is Survivor.
Yeah, well...
Have you never seen Survivor? That's what people do.
Yeah, well, I guess that leads. Cable, had you finished, sorry, before we lead into the next bit?
Yeah,
sorry.
No, I'm good, yeah.
Yeah, perfect lead in then, I guess, to kind of Cass versus Tasha and everything that kind of leads into how this episode will turn out. And we see this, conversation with them on the beach, the initial conversation, and obviously Cass is fishing for information and Tasha's not exactly being entirely truthful. Cass, in a confessional, calls her out for that, and Tasha's quick to say, oh no, I don't trust her after what happened in Cagayan. And then we get the next day confessional, and then, it gets a little bit heated, and before we know it, who's back? Chaos Cassie's back, and she's back to screaming at people on the shelter on the beach with a bit of a tiff, and randomly Sierra decides to join in, which then brings Savage into it, and in the meantime, if you pay attention to the background, I think it was Keith, I don't know who he was with, but they were just watching it like they needed to have popcorn or something. It was actually quite funny. But, this sets up the entire episode, really. It's Tash versus Cass, it's Cagayan, really, all over again, and a lot of different elements to this. I'm going to be intrigued to find out people's opinions, because I think this is going to divide a lot of people. I've got my own opinions on this too, but I'm going to start with you, Ryan. Your take on kind of this whole initial little fight between these two.
Yeah, I found the initial fight quite interesting because we saw Tasha really just take an appeasing approach to Cass, and she didn't really bite into anything that Cass was saying. She was just going along saying, yes, I agree, yes, Bayon's gone. And then we cut back after the commercial break, and it comes back, and obviously it must have been early in the morning because Tasha looked very tired, and they're having a go at each other, and they finally draw that line in the sand. But
literally,
yeah, literally. I don't know if Cass at that point had numbers, so I think Tash has played it right, where she's probably just waited out and seeing where the numbers are falling, and she's gone to the right side. It's interesting. I think that there's a lot of stuff we probably didn't see, but I think that for Tasha's game, she's made the right decision to not play with Cass again. Clearly, there's a lot of issues that have lingered from her first game, and as much as you want to take it as a second chance, for someone like Tasha, who has a huge history with Cass, and it's been talked about a lot, to not play the game with her again and probably get some redemption for the game that she stopped last time is probably really huge for Tasha. So from Tasha's point of view, I think it's a good move from her.
It's such a tricky thing, isn't it, though? Because to come into a game like this where you've got history with the person and to try and put that aside, clearly that was a huge weighing point into Tasha's vote tonight. But on the flip side of that, a week ago, we saw that with Cass, that she was able to do that and side with Spencer. Now, you could also obviously argue that, well, she took out the guy who took her out, so there's probably a bit of revenge in there, but based on what we saw on screen, there wasn't really any of that mentioned. So, I mean, just on what you were saying though, Ryan, like, do you think it's smart for a player to kind of maybe let a bit of that cloud their judgment, or do you feel it's too impossible not to have that cloud your judgment based on what happened the first time?
Yeah, I think it's too impossible to not let it cloud her judgment. I think in terms of the players that are around her in the game as well, Cass naturally has this, it is a bit of a stereotype that she is always going to be chaotic, even if she's not displaying chaotic tendencies. And I know that you spoke to Tasha and Cass pre-game as well, so I don't think the friendship was as strong as maybe it was betrayed, and the threat of a 4K and strong alliance, for me, it was never going to happen. Tasha's always been someone who's probably just been nice to Cass, but I was a little surprised that at the end of the day, it was Tasha who was the most aggressive towards Cass, and we didn't really see Spencer at all, who at the end seemed quite, conciliatory towards Cass, and even though he voted for her, he didn't do it with any malice. It was just that it was her time to go.
And I'd agree with that, because I kind of always felt with Cass and Spencer, for example, that they try to paint that out a little bit, how it was last week, but kind of in talking to both of them outside of the show, like, it's a sort of a real playful little friendship that they have going on outside of the show. Like, they portray each other like they hate each other, but I think deep down they actually get along. It's like a fun little, tit-for-tat little relationship they have outside of the game, whereas I'm not...
Brother and sister.
Yeah, I'm not too sure with the Tasha-Cass thing. Like, I think there are generally a few people on Cagayan who don't get along with Cass outside of the game. Cable, your thoughts on this whole situation?
Yeah, we were talking off air, and I can't wait for Noah to sort of have his opinion, because Cass didn't play it the best that she could, but I don't know, the way I saw it, I felt like Cass was in the right and Tasha was in the wrong, but sort of Tasha came out as a winner. It was kind of, I don't know, Cass really probably shouldn't have gone to the group, but then I think she was doing that to defend herself before Tasha could, sort of smear her name in the mud. So, yeah, I don't know. Look, I'm not a massive Cass fan, but I sort of felt for her a bit. I thought was doing the right thing. And look, Tasha did say some things that, okay, she was trying to feed lines to Cass or plant some seeds, but she can't lie for shit. I mean, in a confessional, Cass even said that, and Cass is a lawyer. She knows when someone's talking shit to her. So, I don't know. I just think the better person didn't really come out on top after that. So
I'll go to Kate in a sec here, but yeah, I'm sort of leaning more so towards what you're saying. Like, I don't think Cass played it well after, like, when Tash went to the group and Cass approached and did what she did. I think she played that poorly, but I do have to kind of side in the fact that I think that in the whole exchange initially that, yeah, Cass pretty much called her out on it. And as you said, she's a lawyer, so she can read people pretty well. And, maybe had Cass just let that go, let Tash gone back to the group and say what she needed to say, then go on afterwards and have her side of it, might have been a bit different on that perspective and show that, Cass has changed the game a little bit. But, like, straight away to sort of be yelling at them the way she was and, not necessarily super smart, I guess. Kate, your take on this whole situation?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't like Tasha at all. She drives me nuts. But I think that Cass had kind of painted herself into a corner, and then it just seemed like I didn't like Tasha's approach. I think that, no, she didn't have to play with Cass, but she also didn't have to be, like, nasty and just, like, unnecessarily rude. She could have just been like, oh, we're on the wrong side or something, but I'll look out for you or some bullshit, like, just fed her something to keep her happy, maybe. But instead, she causes this whole feud, and then Cass, I actually am okay with Cass coming up in the group to defend herself. I think Sierra was the one in the wrong there. I think Sierra kind of going at Savage in front of everyone was the wrong way to go. But I think Cass jumping in and saying, hey, you did say this, while everyone was there before she could really get into it, was the right thing to do.
Okay. Noah, obviously we're hanging on the edge of our seats right now to hear your thoughts.
I'll just say I'm a Cass fan and I liked her much more this season, but I'm going to make some enemies here, but I don't actually think Cass changed her game much at all. She went to Tribal Council twice, and both times she was causing chaos and being Chaos Cass. I do think she made some slight improvements, which was fun to watch, like her social game early on, but then when push came to shove and they had to go to Tribal Council, she just resorted to her old self of Chaos Cass. She loves to stir up trouble. But I don't know how we can say Tasha is too much in the wrong, like, because nothing has affected her. No one's going to come out of this episode and say, oh, Tasha, like, oh, we need to get rid of her because everything that she's just done. So that's just my personal view on it. I'm not a huge Tasha fan, but she's a pretty bad liar, but that's what you do. You tell people false stories to just get them off their back and make it harder. And then when Cass came up, it's like, who's going to believe Chaos Cass when she's saying, oh, Tasha said bye-bye Bayon? Like, no one's going to believe Cass, and it just made the situation twice as bad. If she had not done that, maybe she could have slid a bit more under the radar, but because of that, it just put a massive big, like, duck on her, like, from Jervis's t-shirt or Colleen or whatever. But yeah, I do agree with, I think it was Ryan or you said, like, the past just came back to haunt her, and that was a big reason why last week I said I don't think Cass can win, just because of past preconceptions of who she is. But I guess that's what All-Star seasons are about. But yeah, I don't think Cass did anything right this episode, really. She tried, and I was almost rooting for her. It would have been great to see her come up on top, but, like, was anything that she did good? Like, she talked to Tasha, and then she blew up the situation, and I'm not sure if we want to talk about Sierra now or not, but I think Cass going home was part of her being on Cagayan, but also a big part of what she did this week. I don't think she did really anything good. If she survived, she would have been at the bottom of my rankings, and I'm a fan of her.
Just quick, we'll talk about Sierra, but just a quick question, though. It's always going to be hard in any returning player season to avoid past connections and past reputations. I realise that. But do you think it might work differently in a future full All-Stars season if they were able to do it? We've had enough seasons now where they could do this, where they actually have, say, 20 people who are from 20 different seasons. Like, yes, okay, outside of the game, people talk, people have connections, friendships are made, so it's not exactly as easy as that. But in terms of coming into it where, you know, if Jeremy's on a season with Cass, you know, Jeremy can't say, well, Cass voted me out. Like, I watched her and I think she's a bitch. But, like, that's the only reputation. Like, do you see how that works? Do you think that could something like that could work now?
I don't think so, because my big counter argument would be All-Stars. Lex and Rob, easily one of the biggest feuds and past things coming back there. And also, I feel like there were 4 Kage-Yan people on this season, but there was also 16 other people who viewed Cass from her past season. It wasn't just like Spencer and Tasha hate Cass. Like, a lot of people were wary of her because of her first season. Obviously not Sierra, but a lot of people.
You need 20 Kelly Wigglesworths then that have never watched Survivor coming into it. But it's still also go Cable.
Then she could have won.
I hear what Noah's saying, but I know what you're saying too, Ben. I think that's probably my only thing that I find find negative about All-Star seasons, when the cast can be heavily weighted in a particular direction, whether they got along or not. I mean, to have 4 KGR there, or even you go back to All-Stars, having so many players from Australia and Borneo, and then like poor old Xian, it was the one Thailand representative. I think with All-Star seasons, it is hard trying to get the right, I guess, group together, but you sort of feel like 2 from every season or 1 from every season is sort of good enough. But
I kind of really enjoyed the Kage-Yan dynamics, though. I kind of like this. It's kind of almost like you get a sequel to a season when you've got a few other people. I don't want to see 4 people from Kage-Yan on every season or 4 people from any season, but I have enjoyed the dynamic.
And I guess really with every returning player season with multiple groups, so, you know, obviously we mentioned All-Stars, Heroes versus Villains, there was, you know, elements of that. Obviously they were worried that, you know, Amanda was going to team up with people, you know, like with
there's like 5
Sierra and all that sort of stuff, and Sierra, Sari, and then even, I mean, to an extent on Caramoan, it wasn't really mentioned a whole lot there, but I mean, we obviously had elements.
Francesco, really.
Yeah, and we had like South Pacific people obviously work together, and then Blood versus Water, you know, we had a bit of One World elements there with Colton and Monica and Kat and things like that, but I mean, it wasn't played too...
How did that turn out?
Yeah, well, exactly. So, I mean, it's always there, I guess. I mean, Ryan, Kate, either of you want to add anything to that at all? Ryan, anything to add on that?
No, I think everything's been covered.
Kate, anything to add there?
I personally thought it was annoying that it kept bringing up Kagaya, and I was like, get over it, move on. But maybe I'm in the minority.
Oh, Jeff at the challenge. This was in Brains versus Brawns versus Beauty. 10 minutes in. This was in Brains versus Brawns versus Beauty.
Remember that good season?
Tasha won this.
Remember that great season we did a couple of years ago?
He brought it up. Someone should do a count. I swear it was at least 5 times he brought it up.
All right, Sierra. We sort of mentioned her a little bit in there, weighing in on the situation. I love Savage's reaction in the background. No, hang on. And then they cut to like Jeremy's facial expression, like, you know, just Jeremy's like on. Okay. Let's start with you, Kate. Sierra. You know, I think you kind of loosely touched on it before, but you want to elaborate a little bit more about her getting involved in that moment?
I mean, I think that, like, it was a good lie to tell. I think it was somewhat believable. I just don't think it was the right place to do it, like in an open forum with Savage standing 2 feet behind you. I think had she approached people, like, in a subtle way, maybe it could have, you know, had some weight, maybe not right then that day, but it definitely could have, you know, put something in someone's ear and made them think, rather than, you know, it just looked like a weak attempt to save herself.
Ryan, qualifying lap.
Hi, sorry, Ben, you just cut out. What was the question?
Did I? Sierra's chiming in moment. Kind of your thoughts on Sierra getting involved with that?
Yeah, it was just at the wrong time. I don't know why she decided to bring it up at that point. And Savage was standing right behind her, and he was just saying that everything she was saying was wrong. I don't know if maybe she could have done it at a different time or in a different place. I felt like she just kind of jumped into the argument between Tasha and Cass and was trying to throw Savage under the bus. I can understand why she's trying to put a target on Savage, but I just don't think it was the right time to do it.
Cable.
You know what? I mean, it probably wasn't the smartest move, but it was fucking ballsy. I actually liked it because instead of sneaking around, she's like, you know what? And she didn't care. He was right behind. At first, I thought she said it not knowing he was right there, but I kind of liked the fact that she's like, you know, this is what happened. Obviously, well, as far as we know, it was a lie that she was saying. But then I agree with Kate. I think she probably should have done it discreetly and planted a seed with Jeremy and Steven and those guys and Joe, just to say Savage is coming after you or whatever, and this was his plan and this and this. But I actually liked it. It was refreshing not to tiptoe around people. It was just like, she's like, everyone's here. I'm just gonna go with it, and I kind of liked it.
No, I know.
Kind of turned me on a bit.
Well, speaking of turning him on a little bit, Noah loves Sierra. So, what was your take on it?
Yeah, well, I'll just say she is going to be at the bottom of my power rankings, but I will also defend a lot of her actions. As for the lie itself, I've seen a lot of criticism for it, but I don't think it's too far-fetched because, as I think I said earlier, Jeremy and Savage have not been together since, like day 7 or something? And it's day 20 or something, so like that's a big gap to be away from someone, so I don't think it's unbelievable that Savage would say that. As for the saying it in front of everyone, just playing devil's advocate here, but wouldn't it be more believable if you call it out in front of him? Because you're saying, well, he said that and he has to own up to it, instead of, as Cable said, tiptoeing of everyone does that except for Brenda Lowe. Everyone does that whole scheming and trying to scrape off the bottom. So I'm not saying I necessarily believe it, I'm just putting the idea out, maybe we can talk about it, but wouldn't it be more believable saying it in front of everyone? Because that means you're serious, this is truthful, not just behind the backs of two people. Oh, hey Jeremy, guess what Savage said about you?
True, but at the same point, then what Cass is saying is believable based on that opinion.
Yeah, but it's Cass talking about Tasha, not random Sierra talking about random Savage.
True. Cable, thoughts on that point?
I thought what?
Well, on Noah's devil's advocate moment, is it smarter for Sierra to call it out based purely on what Noah was saying rather than going behind people's back and trying to get them to believe them that way?
Because it makes it sound more truthful.
Yeah, well, it puts the blowtorch back on Savage to, I guess, rebut what's being said. I'm happy the way she did it. It's not often you see that, so
I might not go.
And it was great TV.
It was great TV. I might not, unless Ryan, please chiming in if you got something to add on this. But I might not necessarily go to everybody with this thought. No, all right. Yeah, it was interesting. And one thing actually, before we'll quickly touch on the challenge as well. I mentioned before #Joe language. Spencer, I'm going to talk to him in football terminologies. Like, he's not to Spencer. Like, he is. Well, is he more than just a pretty face, Kate?
No, I think he is. I think that was really unfair. Like, I mean, believe me, I know everyone's obsessed with Joe, and he's the tallest one out there, so that's why I climb him. But he's no Malcolm.
So if he's short, like, in all seriousness, like, so you're only kind of attracted in that way because he's tall?
Hello, Mitchell Olsen.
Yep, partially.
Yeah, I'm just intrigued about the Joe like, because look, from my perspective, I just don't get the infatuation with Joe. But again, I guess you're exactly the same, Kate. You don't get my infatuation. Well, you kind of do with Morgan, but there's more to it than what you think. It's not the boob coma, but
it's the boob coma.
Somebody could Photoshop Morgan with a flat chest, and I would still be infatuated with her.
No, you wouldn't.
I would.
Lies.
Oh,
come on, Ben.
No. All right, the challenge. We're not. Who cares about Joe language? Yeah, nothing. What can we talk about? It's generic, stand still for a while, and last one standing literally wins. The best thing about this challenge was Jeff Probst's, everyone put your balls on top of the platform. That's the winning sexual innuendo for the week. Ryan, yeah, generic merge challenge. We're just going to have another, 6 or 7 weeks of the same challenge coming up.
Yeah, I guess it was another reference back to Kagayan as well, and they emphasised strongly that Tasha had won this before.
Did she? I didn't hear Jeff say that at all in this challenge.
I think they did, but I found it interesting that Joe decided to win the challenge and keep the target on his back. I think that maybe it would have been smarter if he just had gone out with a few more to go, and not put that target on himself when he didn't really need to win. He's just setting himself up. He already is the golden boy, and by winning this challenge that he didn't need to win, everyone's going to be targeting him at some point because he's an immunity beast. So I just wonder whether it was worth the risk.
Cable.
I agree wholeheartedly with Ryan. I was thinking the same thing. Look, at the end of the day, it's one of those games of deception. We know that, and so the only way you know you're truly safe is to have the immunity necklace. But I was thinking the same thing. If Joe thinks he's pretty good and they're tight and they know what they're doing, why win immunity when he's already got that target on his back? Why solidify that point to everyone that you're pretty good at most challenges? So I think it was, I agree with Ryan. I think it was probably one he could have let drop.
Literally.
But, yeah.
Amazing looking immunity idol. Can I just point that out? That is a looker. That's a throwback to Thailand. Not Thailand. Was it Gabon? They had kind of like a flat necklace one? Like that? I'm trying to think. There's a similar season.
Why not?
Somebody can message in. There was definitely a season where they had like a flat necklace looking thing like that. No,
Africa.
Africa maybe it was. Yeah. Well, Gabon's on the African continent, so. But it wasn't Gabon. It was. Yeah. Shut up, Ben. Noah, anything to add?
Well, firstly, the whole Spencer thing, that was one of the most condescending things we've ever seen in Survivor, because we've got nothing to suggest that Joe's a dummy. Like, where did that come from? The challenge, it was in Brains vs. Brawns vs. Beauty. Tasha won it. Spencer didn't win it. It was in Brains vs. Brawns vs. Beauty. It's the only time they've done it. Brains vs. Brawns vs. Beauty. Yeah, come on, Jeff. Happy birthday, Jeff, by the way.
It's his birthday, is it?
Yep, 54, the old man.
Oh, happy birthday, Jeff. Let's all sing happy birthday to him at the end of this episode, because he won't ever listen.
I think the Botox is working.
That's what he got for his birthday. Botox. Oh, you shouldn't have.
The challenge, I do agree with Ryan and Cable, but I also, again, devil's advocate here, is maybe the conversations between Joe and Spencer of whether swing votes could have happened after the challenge. And this is second chances. Are you really going to risk one of the biggest threats not having safety going into the first one of the biggest votes of the merge, the first vote? I don't think it could ever guarantee safety. They could have been putting a wool over his eyes. So I agree that Joe has a massive smack bang target for winning this challenge. I also think it would have been one of the biggest risks in Survivor, being one of the biggest challenge beasts, to let this one slide, as it is the first one of the merge. So, and I guess Joe could also have shields. Joe is a shield, but I guess he also has some shields. Like, there's some pretty good challenge people on there too. Like, Spencer almost won the thing. So I see both sides of it. I don't think it was the end of the world that he won this.
Kate, anything to add?
Well, first of all, I think I really liked that in all the previous challenges, Jeff's talked about how everyone's lost this challenge previously, and it's their second chance. And then this one, they give you one that someone's won, and I don't know, that bothered me for some reason, among him saying it 25 times. But, yeah, I just wasn't into that as much. Also, I just don't think Joe, is the type of person that would ever even, contemplate throwing a challenge. That's just not in his strategic game, ever.
Mm-hmm.
He's never going to throw a challenge. I just don't think he'd think of it, even if it was the right thing to do, which I don't necessarily think it was.
It's in. I remember actually in Worlds Apart because he won. What did he win 2 or 3 in a row? And I was kind of like joking, like, "Oh, he could win every single one. He can create a record." And then Mike basically did that at the end. But just Zach's talking in the chat right now. I've just looked it up on Survivor Wiki. Apparently, this also was on South Pacific, but as Noah also pointed out, Survivor Wiki like to group challenges together that aren't necessarily the same. But this challenge is apparently called
this food challenge and breakout prison challenge.
Bo Diddley, also known as Hard to Handle. I like Bo Diddley. Sounds like something Keith would say. Bo Diddley. But am I the only one watching this challenge? Obviously, I'm extremely biased towards Wrigglesworth, but I just want her to win and go on a streak and just be Borneo all over again. Like, she got the 4, she got them in a row. Like, I want her to get the 5 so she can join the men's club and be like, elite for doing that, because then she would have won 4 on one season, 5 on another. Who has the most individual? Is that Parvati or Aussie, or in terms of combined seasons? Do we know that off the top of our heads?
Aussie.
Somebody find that out for me. Somebody get on the Google machine and
Wigglesworth did pretty well though.
Yeah,
in the challenge.
She did, and we should note, Tash as well. I mean, she got third, didn't she? But she won 3, didn't she, in Cagayan, and that brought out the Wigglesworth reference back in Cagayan. So, we've got some pretty.
Now she's playing on a frickin' season.
Oh, God, could we have imagined that? Wow, far out. Joe wins immunity. Yay. We're back to the beach, and it all is apparent that Cass is going to be the target. But no, we're going to split the votes. Sierra's name will also get pointed out there, and then, of course, the remaining group of Abby, Sierra, Cass, and Kelly Wentworth obviously concoct this plan together. We just need one more, and then we have them on side. So they approach Spencer. Spencer seems like he's down with it, and in the end, it doesn't really matter, because when we get to Tribal, the vote doesn't really even come close to what we were seeing. It ends up being a 6-4-2-1 vote. Cass goes home. We get some great reactions from Tasha at Tribal Council to what Cass was saying. It's fantastic reactions. I love Tasha's reactions this season. And, basically, bye-bye, Cass. Now, we won't eulogise Cass in this segment. We'll get to that, but just kind of in the lead-up, everything from the challenge right through to Tribal. Let's start with Noah this time. You always seem to go last this episode, so you can go first this time.
This kind of build-up wasn't as big as some. Like, it wasn't Philippines or Cagayan or anything like that. It was just kind of maybe more of a Worlds Apart, where we thought maybe something big was going to happen, but really it was just what we were seeing was what was really going to happen. It's obvious now from the edit that Spencer was never going to flip, and that was just our red herring for the week. And then we had, I think it was Jeremy suggesting splitting the votes, which if only he was always on the same tribe as Cass, they wouldn't have even had to worry about that, because he would know, well, I've got the idol, but obviously you can't be too safe, so it's always good to switch the votes. As for the Sierra voting for Savage, which a lot of people are really questioning, I've got a bit of a theory on that, which I kind of said to you earlier, Ben, in our post-game chat, that I really do, and maybe I'm giving her too much strategical credit, but if you think about the votes, they were splitting the votes. Cass is going to get 5 votes. Theoretically, Sierra is going to get 4, and Tasha is going to get 4. If Cass had an idol and played the idol, she saves herself. It's a tie. It's 4 votes Tasha, 4 votes Sierra. Revote, Sierra goes 9-4 or 9-3, whatever. Sierra's gone. If she switches it to Savage, then there is no revote. Tasha goes home, and they're both safe.
How does Tasha go home? Doesn't she go home either way that way, though? Because with her not voting Tasha, there's no tie that votes a Sierra, so she goes home anyway.
Well, then the other thing is also Kelly Wentworth didn't vote for Cass in the end.
No, she did.
No, Kelly Wentworth actually voted for Cass.
Kelly Wentworth did vote for Cass, yes.
Yeah.
So that plan wouldn't have worked anyway.
Yeah.
What was if she didn't vote,
so I understand what you're saying, but okay, hypothetically, Cass plays the idol, so it's then 4-4 as you said. But if she voted for Savage, then it's going to be 4-3 because Tasha doesn't have that fourth vote. So therefore, Sierra goes home no matter what. Because she's still got the 4 votes against her, but there's no tie with Tasha because Tasha's only got 3 votes against her because she voted for Savage.
I guess that is also another factor in it. Yeah, I'm just trying to play it out in my mind here.
I see what you're saying, though, because I think ultimately, I think the key thing with this is that I think you're absolutely right, that they knew that Spencer wasn't flipping. So that's why she voted for Savage. That's why, obviously, Kelly Wentworth voted for Cass. And we just didn't see the conversations or anything that led to them ultimately knowing that it wasn't going to work. Because if they were still set on that plan, there would have been the 4 votes for Tasha.
Yeah, that's a good point. But regardless of all of that, as for why Savage over just a random person like Keith, I think that's really going to set Savage paranoid, or at least it's going to send a message to Savage that, look, you screwed me over, I'm going to screw you over, I'm going to get you. I don't know if she will in the end, but it's definitely going to who the hell voted for me from Savage, and maybe she can play it into her game, like, I told you that people were flipping and you didn't believe me and all that. So I don't know.
But it's almost like payback too, because saying, "Oh, we'll say we're voting for Sierra last week," blah blah blah. So Sierra, effectively, if things went to Savage's plan last week, would have got a vote from Spencer. So maybe that's just her way of saying, you know what, fuck you, you can have a vote.
Just quickly, I'll go to Cable next, but I believe Rob is the right answer for most career individual challenges with 9, and then I think Aussie has 7. So in terms of female, though, I'm imagining it would be Parvati. You sound like you're about to die there, Kate, or something.
No, I was just saying, yeah.
Oh, you're a bit excited. All right, okay.
Don't mention Boston Roberts. Hang on.
But yeah, no, female career-wise, I couldn't answer that question. Cable, everything leading up, what we were just talking about.
Yeah, no, I was really got into that conversation. I don't really have anything more to say. I just look. I know you guys sort of saying that Spencer wouldn't change his vote, but I thought he had a golden opportunity to do something there, and like you said, support the people that supported him previously, and make it move. And I don't know, I think he wasn't there a confessional he had before he went to Jeremy, sort of saying, "Oh, I want to try and help Cass, but it looks like there's too many numbers are stacked against her, so I'll just have to go with the flow." And then the opportunity comes up that he can flip, and he doesn't. So I don't know. That sort of frustrated me. I don't know. Again, I'm not a massive Cass lover, but I would have liked to have seen her stay a bit longer and Tasha go. And I think Tasha physically is a bigger threat. I don't understand why. Yeah, anyway. Okay.
And just actually, just a different side here. I'm hung up on stats here. Rob's still on top, but this different one I'm on says he's won 11 individual challenges. So he's won more. Per season, most challenge wins, individual challenge wins. Guessing these include immunity and reward. That's probably where it's coming from. Terry D, it's 8 on a season in total. And if we just look here quickly, I'm just trying to scroll through here. Kim Spradlin is the leader with 5, side by side with Kelly Wrigglesworth with 5, and Kathy Vavrick O'Brien with 5, and Amanda with 5, and Parvati with 5. Okay, so there's our female winners. Female individual challenge getters. All right, thank you, Randall.
So can we retroactively move Boston Rob up in the rankings because he's got a
Ryan.
Yeah, we're serious.
Don't
motherfuckers.
Don't start. No. Ryan. Yes, what we were talking about.
It's not all based on challenge.
Clearly.
Yeah, I guess it was really fascinating to see straight away Joe and Keith go straight over to the other side and I guess give them the numbers. While Noah was talking, I just went onto Twitter because I remember I read a tweet from Sierra talking about that fact, and she said, "I knew I could potentially work with Tasha in the future, so I didn't want to write her name. And writing Savage, I didn't burn any bridges." So clearly her relationship with Savage was at a level where she knew she wasn't going to be working with him at any stage in the game. And I guess by not voting for Tasha, she's still got that somewhat connection there, and she can go back to her in the future. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, but it looks like it wasn't more about stirring up Savage, but to maybe more ingratiate herself with Tasha in the future.
All right. Kate?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that, they had to go to Spencer. Like, I mean, I understand trying to go to him, but why didn't they try to go to anyone else? Like, my thought was that, like, in the beginning of the episode, Kelly Wentworth is so like, oh, I have Keith Nail. Like, he's 100% with us. Like, I've got him. And, like, and he switched pretty fast, but Keith is just so malleable that I feel like she could have gone to him and been like, do this instead, and he probably been like, okay, let's do it. So
yeah, that was interesting.
I don't know
how they kind of portrayed that, and then at the end, Kelly's kind of, I felt sorry for, it was just random, wasn't it? That Kelly's just lumped into that group at the end, like, here she is. So yeah, that was just kind of
random. And Kimmy and Keith.
Yeah, Keith got a confessional. Kimmy,
Three invisible.
I did love Kimmy. Like, she didn't get a confessional, but she was like the mediator in the fight. Like, she was calm. Kimmy there. I'm just
don't wave your fingers at each other.
Yes, put the fingers down and let's talk about it. Love Kimmy.
She's got kids now.
Yeah, she does. She had kids in Australia, I think. Didn't she?
No.
She had at least one, didn't she?
Nah, I'm pretty sure she didn't. She was pretty young then, too.
She was a happy-go-lucky
Young people can have kids. Sierra's got 2.
No, sorry, that's true. But I think, wasn't she sort of young, single, kind of...
She was definitely not a mother.
Okay, all right. We're not here to debate who was a mother and who wasn't.
Well, it's not a debate. Wrong.
All right. We'll eulogise Cass, but just quickly, I just want to say hello, Rat. Rat's back in the chat. We haven't seen Rat hasn't been there in ages. Hello, Rat. And Riley's just joined us. She's complaining about Queensland being an hour behind. Well, don't live in Queensland.
Yeah, they're behind the times.
We're not having this debate.
You're the one that moved, Riley. we tried to stop you.
Let's eulogise Cass. Let's be honest here. Her to be the first jury member, probably not many of us called that. I, for one, was sure she was first boot. I'm not the only one who thought that. Kate, Cass second time around. Your overall thoughts on her?
I mean, I think she did better overall. I mean, in like her own way. I also think that had this merge not happened so early, which I mean it is unexpected, I think they probably would have gotten rid of Savage, and then she could have been in an okay position. So, I mean, I think she kind of got screwed in her own weird way.
Okay, Ryan.
Yeah, I agree with Kate a lot, because I feel like last week's decision to get rid of Wu had her in a good position, and possibly if they had have, merged at 12, Savage would have been gone this week. So for her, she was a bit unlucky, but I'm incredibly grateful that they put Cass onto the jury, and that they haven't done sometimes in the past where they've done a merge and then left the first or second person off. So yeah. Cass is straight on the jury, which is fantastic, because we're going to get some great jury moments from Cass. I have already watched the Ponderosa video, and she's already amazing in that. I definitely recommend people checking that out. The Queen of Ponderosa. So yeah, I'm really excited to see her on the jury and her final speech, especially if it's someone from Cagayan who makes the end. I'd be really fascinated to see how that goes.
Haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to be doing that. And yeah, it's I'm glad they didn't do like with Corinne in Caramoan, where come on, put her on the jury, folks. We need a Corinne on the jury. Cable, Cass.
Yeah, again, I've said it all episode. I think I wasn't a massive fan of her in her first time around. I did vote for her because I know that it's great. She's great television, and she hasn't really failed to deliver again. But I would have liked to have seen her go a bit further. I've just noticed Nick Chester He said that was he said that was a really slow episode, especially for the merge. Yeah, I said it. So I don't know what he's talking about.
New Zealand sentimentality. They win the World Cup. They're on top of the world. They think, oh, look at us. We're a bunch of Kiwi sheep shaggers. No.
Yeah.
Hello, New Zealand.
Also, so was this the first? They said, was it going to be a Survivor first this episode? Was it going to be the 13-man merge and then also the jury?
It's the biggest ever tribe of council, as Jeff said, that ever had.
So was that the first then?
I didn't know that there was that advertised.
Yeah, all on Australian TV they were saying in a Survivor first. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well, Australian TV says that every single week. In Australian TV first, we see Survivor closer to America than ever before.
I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. Also, I know the whole theme of this show is called Second Chances, but I'd love to hear it count. But the people mentioning second chances in this episode was astronomical. The amount of references to it and people saying it was like ridiculous. It felt like every third word was second chance.
Well, actually, you're talking about this. Just Jared. Hello, Jared. You can join us for an episode, Jared, one week. Please do. He's just said in the group, Australian TV said Cagayan was the first season to start with 3 tribes. I remember that, actually. So there you go. Hello, Go. And speaking of Go, he's Go's best friend, Noah. When are they going to be showing Blades of Glory anytime soon?
I actually had another interaction with Go not too long ago. My ongoing struggles with Go on Twitter. Contrary to popular belief, I don't actually hate Cass, and I did vote her on the season. I just don't think she is an overall good Survivor player, and if we did the ranking... she's called me many a name over the years.
You got you confused with Jared Elliott.
Yeah, that's the biggest offence of all. If you asked me, I don't think she would move that high up in the overall rankings. She did make some good connections with Sierra and Kelly, but did her game really change that much? She only went to 2 tribal councils. It's the Kelly Wentworth argument. So, she was still Chaos Cass, but she's going to be brought back, I reckon. And even though I would have liked to have seen her go a bit farther, am I the only one who's content with Cass? She made the jury. She made a good impact on the season. Bye-bye, Cass. But she'll probably be back.
I'd probably agree with that, content, because I honestly thought if she wasn't first boot, she was going to go very early. So I guess I love Cass. I'm a big Cass fan. Love getting her on the show, and I'm looking forward to getting her on the show after this season. But yeah, from a fan's perspective, I think she made it a lot further than I ever anticipated. So again, would have liked to see her go further.
Plenty more players in the sea.
Definitely. Wrigglesworth is still there. Kelly Wentworth is still there. I'm happy. Now, before we get to a few things, close it out, questions and everything, let's go to our weekly Tom Shembry question. Again,
Tom's question of the week.
One of our Oslets who for some reason doesn't want to come on live. He says, "Hey Ben, good luck tonight." Thanks, Tom. What do you think will be the big move of next week? Who will make the move? Thanks. Well, I'll be honest, Tom. I actually didn't see the preview for next week because my download cut out after the trial, so I didn't see the final words. I didn't see what's happening next week. So, what will the big move be next week? It will be that we actually get to see Kelly Wigglesworth in a confessional. That will be the move of the editors to shock us. Noah, what will be the big move next week?
Well, the preview was very vague, but I don't know, maybe Stephen will finally get his Joe thing that he's been wanting to do. That would be great TV.
Cable?
Yeah, I think there'll be a big scalp next week. You didn't see the preview, but it was a bit it flashed through all the different people, the bigger threats, and sort of had Stephen saying, if we're going to make a move, we've got to make a move now, sort of thing, and had a few other people. But, I reckon there's going to be a big one next week.
That's what she said.
I really think.
Ryan?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with Cable. I think the lines are going to be drawn between this really large Bayonne alliance, and there might be some division, and a big fish might go.
Okay.
I think Steven's going to start quoting "The sidewalk never ends," and yeah. really just wow us with all his poetry.
Beautiful.
All these confessionals need to be poems now.
Can I just say
Yes.
that if he had done the poem and like the exact same way and then got to the end and been like, yeah, I learned that from Coach, it would have been epic.
It was very Coach-like.
It
wasn't
was. Yeah. Oh, now I miss Coach. God, we need to have Coach back for a full time. I haven't really mentioned anything in confessionals. They haven't updated the list proper, but from what I can see here, Savage had 11 in episode 7. So is that I think, did you mention that, Noah, that could be a episode 7 record?
I didn't mention that, but
I think you said something about a record, didn't you?
I think it's the most confessional for one person this season per episode.
Well, actually, just really quickly, post-merge, I can already see on Psalm 1 Del Sur, Josh got 11 confessionals in the first episode of the merge on Psalm 1 Del Sur, so that blows that stat quickly out the window. Jeremy got 10 in that episode too. Most of this season, I'm going to say probably yes. Yeah, Kelly still didn't get a confessional, so what does that make us now? 5 weeks without a confessional for Kelly? Yep, 5 weeks in a row. Kimmy didn't get one.
Purple Kelly.
Yeah, well, look, let's be honest. The one saving grace for this is that we said she'd be Purple Kelly, and she at least joins a very esteemed club that she will be part with a legendary Purple Kelly to actually be, well, she was Pink Kelly, and now she's Orange Kelly. And she was also Green Kelly, so she's like the tricolour Kelly. Abby, no confessionals again as well. Such an Abby-centric season early on, and nothing. Cass had 7, Joe/Spencer 5, Sierra, Wentworth, and Tasha 3 apiece. Jeremy, Keith, and Stephen 1 apiece. I love here on Survivor Sucks. Somebody has posted here in very large, bold, and underlined capitals: "Die Savage, die. Die Editors, die. Die Jeff Probst, die." So they are fans of them.
Hey, it's his birthday.
Yeah, let's all sing happy birthday to Jeff. Right, we're done. Okay. Come on the show, Jeff.
Now we've got to pay royalty.
We do. Now, just quickly on terms of the finishing questions and ranks and all that sort of stuff. In our power rankings, well, Jared gets the points. Jared's listening to this too. Jared, congratulations. You said Cass was second last week, and, well, you were the closest. Colin had her at 10th, and both Noah and I had her at 4th. So, Jared, you get a point. You're up now to 3 points. Colin's still leading on 5. Noah on 4. Jared 3. I'm in last on 2 points. And then in the sweep, I think Adam went. He did. Adam's gone. Bye, Adam. So, Cable, you've still got Wrigglesworth. You just...
Yeah.
Okay. You summed that up well. Noah, you've already won money. Ryan, Sierra, how are you feeling with her?
Yeah, on the edge now.
Cool. And Kate, you don't have a pony, do you? No, you don't.
No,
Oh.
I was 4 at the time.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. Pre-season predictions. Well, I can tell you straight away I'm not going to win because I had her at first boot. A lot of people did, but without dragging this out much, Jared, congratulations again. You get the point as well. You had her at 14th pre-season, so you nearly got the double points as well, but you get your very first point of the season. So you're on 1 point. Jordan, Tom, Gabrielle, and Cable all on 1. Rossi's on 2. Patrick and I are leading on 4. And Noah, you and Ryan, you still don't have any points. Sorry. Alright, final question time. Who's going to win this season? Let's start with you, Ryan.
Yeah, I said this every time that I've done one of these podcasts. I still think it's Jeremy. I think he's in a great position. He still has the immunity idol. I like the people who he's aligned with. So, for me, Jeremy still.
Jared in the chat right now has written, "What is this?" in big capital letters, him actually getting points. Cable, who's winning this game?
I'm still saying, I'm sticking with Wentworth, my girl Wentworth.
Alright. Kate, who's winning?
Bonavdale.
And Noah.
I keep saying Jeremy. For this 1 week, I'll switch to Wentworth because did you notice her confessional where she was talking about winning the game, which is really the only confessional we've had like that for a while. Of I want to win this game, so maybe her or Jeremy.
I'd be a very happy man if that happened. Who's your dark horse? Grosy Wosy?
Let's say maybe Savage. Why not?
Katie Waity.
You won't.
Oh no! Please don't. It's Stephen Fishback. Why not?
I loved how when he actually got eliminated from the challenge, Jeff was like, "The first person out is Stephen Fishback," as opposed to the other Stephen in the challenge. Jeff, Ryanie Winey.
Yeah, this is so hard because so many people on this season are rated, but I'm gonna go with Keith.
Okay. Oh, all right. There we go. Cabley Wabley.
I was going to say Fishback as well, but I'll change it up. I reckon she's in not a great position, but if she wins it from here, it's ultimate comeback is Sierra.
Who is next to go? Brandon Dandon.
It'd be a big fish, so I reckon maybe if he doesn't win immunity, maybe Joe. Fishback will get people rolled up together to vote him out, I think.
Grovesy Clovesy.
A really predictable thing that I hope doesn't come true, but let's just say to be safe, Sierra.
McLaughlin Flocklin.
I'm going to say Sierra, and I think she might be better than Eliza on the jury with her faces.
Brinky Winky.
I'm going to go Joe as well.
Did you ever used to watch Water Rats, Ryan? You're probably a bit... Oh, no, you're actually close to my age. No, never watched it, Ryan?
Yeah, I have seen Water Rats, but that was like 15 years ago.
The famous episode where they find the penis on the beach. Do you remember that episode?
Not vividly, Ben.
What are you talking about?
The little kids, they find a severed penis on the beach, and they come running to their mum and like, it's a winky.
But why are you telling us?
Because I said Brinky Winky. Thing? Like, Water Rats is a fictional account of real life. Otherwise known as a TV show. No one loves Water Rats. You should watch Water Rats.
So Kate knows it's water police.
Yeah, not actually rats.
But they're rats, like the bottom rats from Mars.
Oh, God. I'm thinking of like a children's what
sort of Australian kids show is it they find a dick on the beach?
That's how we do it over here.
Yes.
How come Chubbs keep getting mentioned every week?
You know what's funny? I saw a van the other day and I forgot there's a company here called Chubb Security. So
I saw that today, actually.
Oh God, Kate, we haven't asked you the question in terms of out of all the survivors this season, who's playing most like how you would play Survivor?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Probably. I don't think anyone's snarky enough. Maybe Cass. Sierra, I guess. Sierra? I don't know.
No, she's too nice to be you, isn't she?
Cass is pretty...
I know, that's what I said. No one's snarky enough.
Vanna, Cass?
Yeah, I don't... None of them are me.
No one is Kate. All right. Kate is not Jazz. Now, all right, just quickly, really quickly, Zachary Chong. I want to fit this in super quickly. Guess the song, Zachary Chong. Our favourite segment. We haven't done this in a couple of weeks. Now, nobody can help him as per usual. You've got to guess this song, and if you guess it correctly, we'll play it at the end. And please don't guess this correctly because I don't want to play the song at the end. So, you're ready, Zach. And let's get into this. I've been here before, but always hit the floor. I've spent a lifetime running, and I always get away. But with you, I'm feeling something that makes me want to stay. Come on, sing along, Noah. I'm prepared for this. I never shoot to miss. But I feel like a storm is coming. Zach, do you listen to music? If I'm gonna make it through the day. Wow, every week he doesn't know the song. It's Zachary Chong has no idea what the song. Catherine, you know the song. Come on, Catherine, you guess it for us. Quickly, I want to go. I'm not playing Sticky Situation.
Yeah, that's what we have to play if Zachary gets it wrong.
Oh, that's right. Oh, what a shame. We have to play Sticky Situation. Yeah, it's Sam Smith, Writings on the Wall, never mind. Go see Spectre, out next week in cinemas, and listen to 007. Hashtag for this episode of Survivor Oz. Close it out for me, please, Cable.
Hashtag for the Survivor episode, Professional Liars, and hashtag for this episode, Brinky Winky.
Riley with a classic Zachary line. No. Zachary John gets it wrong. Good job, Zach. Well done. He wins the night.
Hashtag Dale Man Bun. And hashtag condescending douchebaggy Spencer talking to Joe.
At least if you had a man bun, Kate, climbing would be a lot easier. You'd have something to hold on to.
Ponytail would be better.
Kate, hashtag for the episode, an episode of Survivor Oz.
What was it that Savage said about them?
Fuck you. Was it fuck off or... Hang on.
You pieces of shit.
Fuck them, you pieces of shit. Yes.
Yes, hashtag pieces of shit. And
I think that's an episode of Water.
for the episode, or for the Ozgap, or whatever the fuck.
Oztopsy.
Hashtag Spawn of Dale.
Spawn of Dale. Alright, Ryan.
For the episode, I've gone hashtag Line in the Sand, and for the episode of Survivor Oz, I've gone hashtag Flat Chest Morgan.
Yes.
No. Alright.
Mosquito Bite Morgan. That's what we call her.
Wow.
Deflated.
Thanks to everybody for tuning in, or tuning out at this point. This week's recapper, really it will be this week, Troy Zan. Hopefully. So get your questions into Troy Zan. Obviously, he was slated to be on this season, but you bastards didn't vote him on. So he'll be pissed at you. But yes, we will speak to him about this week. Now, in terms of the Oztopsies, now next 2 weeks, sadly, it looks as though we won't be here live. And it looks as though that I might not even be on the next two. I have other duties to attend to in the next couple of weeks. So, Noah, I hope you'll be hosting the next two. Get Zachary Chong on to host one. Why not?
Zachary can do one and Rat can do the next.
Yeah, well, I'm stoked that Rat's back, and then we're leaving for a couple of weeks in terms of these lives, so no Rat. So
where's Chris Berger?
Yeah, where's Chris Berger, Rat? You ate him, I think. The Rat ate the burger. So, but yeah, we'll update you on our social media. Survivor Oz, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on iTunes, and YouTube as well. I should always pay special mention. We've been putting them up more regularly, so. Oh, excuse me, that was an inappropriate time to burp. Yeah, I lost what I was talking about. YouTube, it's great. Go to it. It's a new website. Cable, thank you for joining us tonight.
No worries, I was just here more so to support Kate in case anything about Boss and Rob came up. So.
Just
Appreciate that.
In case either of you got a chub or...
No, I think I don't like how you ganged up on her last time, so I was just here to support. You know.
Oh God!
What is this? The PC police?
Me. Ryan, thank you.
No, thanks for having me, and great to meet Kate as well.
Kate, sincerely, thank you for coming and staying up late. It's great to have you back on. Let's make this a more common occurrence, please.
Alright, I just gotta get off work on Thursdays and I'll do it.
Yeah, well, stuff work. What do you need work for? What does it do? Pay you money or something? God, this is better.
Yeah, who needs that?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Exactly. And Noah, Mercy Bacow.
It was not gagging up, it was all in the rule books, and Rat, enjoy your cheese.
Until next time, thank you for tuning to Survivor Oz. My name is Ben, and we will speak to you next time on the trains. Fuck them, you pieces of shit.
Why you gotta wash your car with your shirt off? Park right next to me. Ask me how my day was, smiling sweetly. Feels like I stepped in gum. Got honey in my hair. My Dairy Queen is melting and getting everywhere. Like a movie theater floor. You hear every step. You're my sweet temptation. This is a sticky situation.